Good evening and welcome to the annual organizational meeting of the Village of Pleasantville. This is in addition to our regular meeting agenda by state law. Every year at this time, we have an organizational meeting through a series of a recitation of policies to appoint and reappoint people to boards and commissions and to titles. Many years, it is also the occasion when we swear in new or returning elected officials. This year was an off year, and so we have no swearing in to be done, and we're meeting on Zoom as a result. So we will make our way through these various agenda items, and then we'll make a motion to adjourn into executive session on confidential matters. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, everybody got that? So I'll start myself with mayoral appointments, resolution number 78. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following persons to the positions listed below for terms in accordance with village law. A village clerk, Eric Morrissey, term of 2 years through April 2024. Deputy Village Clerk, Alyssa Hochstein, term 1 year through April 2023. Registrar of Vital Statistics, Alyssa Hochstein, term 2 years through April 2024. Village Treasurer, Noreen Regan, term 2 years through April 2024. Deputy Village Treasurer, Healy Shaw, 1 year through April 2023. Associate Justice, Virginia Collins, Esquire, 1 year through April 2023. Prosecutor, George Pappas, Esquire, 1 year through April 2023. And Assessor, Lloyd Tash, 1 year through April 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Back to you, Paul, number 79.
Result of the Board of Trustees hereby designates Alicia Hochstein, Deputy Village Clerk, as the Village Records Access Officer, and Eric Morrissey, Village Administrator / Clerk, as the Village Records Appeal Officer.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Number 80, Nicole.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees shall hold their regular meeting at 8 p.m. on the second and fourth Monday of each month, except April, when the organizational meeting shall be the first Monday and shall convene at 7 p.m. Work sessions shall commence at 7 p.m. on the second and fourth Monday of each month from May through February, then every Monday at 7 p.m. during the months of March and April. When any such meeting date falls on a legal holiday, the meeting date shall be amended by the Board of Trustees. Location for all in-person meetings of the Board of Trustees will take place at Village Hall, 80 Wheeler Avenue, second floor, unless otherwise noticed.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. David, 81.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby sets the following procedure for calling a special meeting by the Board of Trustees. A special meeting can be called by either the mayor or at least two trustees acting together. The Board of Trustees will be contacted by telephone, text, or email. In the event a special meeting is to be called, all attempts will be made to contact the news media and public as soon as practical after calling for the special meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 82, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby designates the Journal News and the Examiner as the official newspapers for the Village of Pleasantville.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 83. Back to you, Paul.
Result, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following authorized signatories for the financial transactions at all depositories: Peter Scherer, Mayor; Noreen Regan, Treasurer; Haley Shaw, Deputy Treasurer.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Nicole, 84.
Resolved that the Bank of New York, JP Morgan Chase Bank, Webster Bank, NA, and NY Class B and the same are hereby designated as depositories for all funds of the Village of Pleasantville, and it is hereby directed that all funds of the Village of Pleasantville shall be deposited in said banks unless otherwise specifically authorized. And be it further resolved that no fund shall be paid by the treasurer of the Village of Pleasantville except pursuant to a judgment or order or an audit and allowance by the Board of Trustees as required by law, and an order designating such funds signed by the mayor or deputy mayor and countersigned by the treasurer, or in his or her absence by the deputy treasurer. And be it further resolved that all checks or drafts or instruments for the withdrawal of money of the village from said depository shall be signed by the treasurer. Payment of principal and interest on duly issued village bonds and certificates of indebtedness or tax notes may be paid by the treasurer without specific order or audit of the board. Compensation for services of employees or officers regularly employed by the day, week, month, or year may be paid by the order of the treasurer for services actually rendered or performed without specific order or audit of the board. Should I say it and further stated in the record at this point?
That's fine, yes.
Okay, as further stated in the record.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. David, 85.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to approve in-state conferences in accordance with the General Municipal Law, Section 77B, and further resolved that all out-of-state conferences shall be approved by resolution of the Board of Trustees.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved. 86, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby sets the standard business mileage rate for transportation expenses for village employees using their personal vehicle for village business as per the rate guidelines set forth by the Internal Revenue Service.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 87, back to you, Paul.
Whereas the Board of Trustees has determined to authorize payment in advance of audit of claims for public utility services, postage, credit card merchant fees, freight and express charges, and whereas all such claims shall be presented in the next regular meeting for audit, and whereas the claimant and officer incurring or approving the same shall be jointly and severally liable for any amount disallowed by the Board of Trustees. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes payment in advance of audit claims for public utility services, postage, freights, and express charges. All such claims shall be presented at the next regular meeting for audit by the Board of Trustees.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 88, Nicole.
Resolved that the village treasurer is hereby authorized to implement the Village of Pleasantville's investment policy. Said policy is attached.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. David, 89.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the Village of Pleasantville's purchasing policy, which I shall read. No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved.
Aye.
Number 90, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the Village of Pleasantville's fiscal policy, which is attached.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold on, we need a second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Back to you, Paul, 91.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the Village of Pleasantville's credit card policy. The attached credit card policy is within the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Nicole, 92.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following village petty cash and confirms the limit on any reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses to village employees from said funds at $20. In the Justice Court, for change and reimbursement, $200. The Finance Department, reimbursement expenses only, $150. The Finance Department, change for payments only, $100. The Recreation Department, change and reimbursement, $100. Village Clerk, refuse, change for payments only of $100, and Clinton Street Center, change and reimburse, $50.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion approved. 93, David.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the village master fee schedule attached.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Michael, 94.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following employee policies, which can be found in full on the village website under Employee Portal. The policies are for anti-harassment and discrimination, a cyber breach notification, cybersecurity, drug-free workplace, the employee handbook, the equal employment opportunity policy, public employer health emergency policy, sexual harassment policy, vehicle use policy, the village code of ethics, and the workplace violence policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved. I'll read these off. Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby approves the mayor's assignments to the following board members, liaisons to the village organizations, boards, commissions, and committees. This obviously could be subject to change as we develop through the year if any of you prefer to switch it up. Pleasantville Fire Department, PCTV, Pleasantville Chamber of Commerce, and Pleasantville Union Free School District, all trustee Paul Alvarez. Climate Smart Task Force, Conservation Advisory Board, Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee, Pleasantville Recycles and Sustainable Westchester, all trustee Nicole Asquith. Foodchester Farm Market, Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and the Planning Commission trustee Michael Peppard. Pleasantville Housing Development Corp, Pleasantville Strong and the Public Arts Committee, Mayor Peter Shearer, Beautification Committee, Clinton Street Center, Senior Citizens, Mount Pleasant Library Board, and the Zoning Board of Appeals, trustee David Vinjamori.
There's one missing. The police committee. I forget what their name is now.
Okay.
It's a,
Thursday. Do you, Paul, you remember what the new name is?
I'm looking right now for us. Give me 1 second. Sorry. It's like police community engagement. Let's see.
Here, I'll
Police community communication.
Well,
So it
can
is-
we just shorthand that as the Police Community
PCC?
Engagement Committee? Doesn't mean that we've changed the name of it, but it is clear in the record.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and that
Paul,
would
do you want to be the liaison?
That would be you, Nicole?
I'm actually, no, I can't. I can't do Thursdays.
All
I
right.
have another commitment on Thursdays.
All right, so
Okay.
we're
I
adding.
guess I'm stuck with it then.
We're adding to this list, the Police Community Engagement Committee, trustee Nicole Asquith. Yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Unless
approved.
we split it up, unless we split it up a little bit, because I see that Michael's got 3. Nicole, you already have
Another?
5.
That is true.
We can, how about this? This is the way it was last year. We can adjust it going forward and make a change if we want. We can discuss in a work session next week. What do you think, Michael? You want another?
What?
And a player to be
Well,
named
Nicole
later.
will have 6 now.
Yeah.
I would do it, but I know that on Thursday now I'm not going to be available.
So can I suggest we pass this resolution, and if we want to rejigger it a bit, we can do so going forward?
Sure.
All
So,
in favor?
aye.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
approved. Okay, 97. Now we're back to the real business here. So actually we should do 96, which is out of order in Novus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me do 96, which is mayoral appointments. Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the mayor's appointments to the following persons to various boards, commissions, and committees. The Planning Board, all members with a 3-year term, David Keller, Anjali Sautoff, and James McDonald. The Zoning Board, members with a 5-year term, Steve Kraus. Ethics Board, members with a 3-year term, Eric Christensen. Conservation Advisory Council, members with a 2-year term, Lisa Brown, and Andrew Reinman, Don Williman, and Michael Inglis. Beautification Committee, all members with a 1-year term, Kathy Dinkle, Chair. Members Tanya Cunningham, Elizabeth Ward, Pat January, Marilyn Ross, Marlene Knappe, Virginia Pancotti, Elsie Rattenbury, John Muller, Merrill Chimikowski, Amy Melissa Gladstone, and Maggie Murphy Verdon. Pleasantville Recycles, all 1-year terms, Chair Stephanie Ells. Members Edwin Kuo, Andrea Garbarini, Pat January, Helen Muir, Virginia Pancotti, Bridget Egan, Pardeep Pabui, Kim Turner, Dan Turner, Francesca Bonavita Lawler, Lisa Apcon, Carolyn Ramsey, and Gina Sadao. Public Arts Committee, all 1-year terms, co-chairs Marlene Canopy and Stuart Vance. Members Lisa Hertz Apcon, that should be Hertz, Hertz, Andrea Garbarini, Janet Langsam, Barry Shankman, Linda Shankman, Gregory Nemec, Leslie Shore. Pedestrian Safety Committee Chair Samantha Hoover. Members Adrian Knott and Melissa Russo. Climate Smart Task Force Chair Russ Klein, Helen Muir, Teresa Conway, Anjali Sautoff, and Ben Sarabin, all 1-year terms. Is there a
Is that the list that Ben sent you for Climate Smart? I feel like there are a
He
couple
gave
people missing.
me Yeah, there's a few people that I was still waiting to hear from.
Okay. And then for the Conservation Advisory Council, isn't Helen still the chair?
She is.
Why isn't she there?
So her term wasn't up, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was just for people whose terms were
Whose
up.
terms
So
were
there
up.
may be some people missing.
I see.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved. And now back to 97. Is that David's turn? I forget.
I'd be happy to do it.
It's yours.
Whereas on November 22nd, 2021, in accordance with the requirements of New York General Municipal Law, Section 103, the village issued a notice to bidders seeking bids for the Manville Road Corridor Improvement Project, based on plans and specifications prepared for the village by the Insight Engineering Surveying and Landscape Architecture, PC, Insight, for the purpose of receiving bids to provide all labor, materials, machinery, tools, equipment, and other means of construction necessary and incidental to the completion of the project. And whereas bid responses for the project were received and thereafter opened publicly on January 10th, 2022 at 10 a.m. And whereas after reviewing the bids received, PCI Industries Corp was, determined to be the lowest responsible bidder with a total bid estimate amount of $1,875,000. And whereas on March 28th, 2022, the village received a confirmation letter from the New York State Department of Transportation, NYSDOT, which confirms that the project's disadvantaged business enterprise DBE goal of 10% is being met, and concurs with the village determination to award to PCI Industries. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby awards a contract to PCI Industries Corp. For the Manville Road Corridor Improvement Project, and be it further resolved that the mayor and/or his designee are authorized and empowered to take all necessary and appropriate actions in order to further the purposes of this resolution and comply with the awarded contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
A happy day, the end of a long process. And obviously we can comment further about this at a regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. That is the last of our mostly dry as dust agenda items on the annual organizational meeting. I thank Eric, Alyssa, Noreen, Healy, and the entire staff for putting that together and joining us again to be appointed to all of these important roles. Is there a motion to depart the organizational meeting to go into executive session on matters of legal, personnel, contractual matters, and real estate?
I so move.
Second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty. I would thank the other the audience members, except there aren't any. So thank you for your attention during the organizational meeting. Presumably next year it'll be a little more interesting when we have the opportunity to do some swearing in ceremonies. We're signing off, and if everybody can sign back into the new Zoom link for the executive session, we'll meet you all shortly.